Hello there. Welcome in. Glad to have you, whether you're listening on at 740 KVOR, Extra Sports 1300, or whether you're listening on the digital streaming apps of those two fine radio stations. They are both free to download. They are both free to use, and they're both brought to you by Diversus Health, mental health, and well-being for all. A veritable cornucopia of sports topics await you, and I'd love to get your thoughts at 719-247-1313. If you are live streaming the show anywhere you scroll, you could just drop a comment right there on the stream. Game threes, multiple tonight. Avalanche in LA. The Nuggets are in Minnesota. I think certainly for the Denver Nuggets, this is a bigger game than what it is for the Colorado Avalanche. But I think that there's significance to tonight's game for the Avs as well. But there's no doubt that this is a big one for the Denver Nuggets. In fact, teams that win a game three in a series that is tied at 1 go on to win that series over somewhere between 70 and 80% of the time. So the winner of tonight, and I was feeling this way before I saw the numbers, I think the winner of this game wins the series. Now, I can't say how many games the series will go or how I floated a theory earlier today in these hallways saying that if the Nuggets win tonight, they win game 4, go up 3-1, the series goes back to Denver, Minnesota wins, they have to go back to Minnesota for game 6, and that's just more of a byproduct of how wild I think this series could be. I don't know if I fully believe that's the sequence, but really the combination of how a team gets to 4 wins could be it's numerous. But I think the winner of tonight's game does win the series, which makes today's news troubling if you're a Nuggets fan. The pregame injury report, or the pregame injury report released earlier today, has Aaron Gordon downgraded to questionable with a hamstring injury. And it's obviously concerning because you have the movement. This is not somebody that was already like a Peyton Watson that was already living on the injury report. And now he's being moved to a different classification. This is somebody that was supposedly good to go that is now less than that. Doesn't mean he won't play. Questionable, right? But his injury, one of, to be fair, a few when it's come to Aaron Gordon over the last couple of years, flaring up at the very least to the point that his status is less than certain, is very concerning for the Denver Nuggets. Because it starts with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. This is the hierarchy. But the Denver Nuggets need Aaron Gordon. You know, Jaden McDaniels said what he said the other night about how all the Nuggets are bad defenders. Aaron Gordon's the one guy he mentioned that I was sticking up for. I think Aaron Gordon is a very good defender, and he is the best that the Denver Nuggets have. So if the Nuggets are going to have a chance to defend the Minnesota Timberwolves better than they did in Game 2, I think Aaron Gordon's participation in tonight's game is paramount, to use one of David Adelman's favorite words. I don't know if they win tonight, and I certainly don't think they can win this series if this is a sign of things to come. And I said this about Anthony Edwards going into the series. What he's dealing with, He's not going to get healthier, right? He may be able to play through it, and I thought he did a great job of that in game 2, but he's not getting better. He is getting worse. It's just a matter of how much worse he is getting from game to game. So the same thing applies to Aaron Gordon here. If he is less healthy, and at least we could say that compared to game 2, he's not going to get healthier as the series goes on. And he's not going to get healthier as the playoffs go on. And this was always going to be the Nuggets' worst nightmare. Because all the credit in the world to Aaron Gordon for toughing it out like he did in Game 7 last year against OKC, but having him at whatever percentage he was detrimental to their chances of winning that Game 7. He was severely limited in that game, and the importance of Aaron Gordon once again was on full display. This team is not a great defensive. They're not great defenders on their own, but with Aaron Gordon in there, they're capable of being better as a unit. He's kind of the focal point of that defense. Now you take him away or limit him, and now Aaron Gordon is a guy that has to have help, in addition to the other 4 guys on the floor constantly needing a help defender. And it will just lead to more defensive breakdowns for this Denver Nuggets team if he is hampered by this injury. And then going forward, is it going to get worse? Let's say tonight, let's look on the bright side a little bit. Let's just say, yeah, he's not feeling as good as he did in game 2, but still close to what he needs to be. And he performs well. Nuggets win game 3, go on to win the series. This is just round 1, folks. This is just the start of this gauntlet that the Nuggets are set up to run through on their way to a possible NBA championship. They cannot, and I've said this multiple times during the season, because we have been in this situation with Aaron Gordon repeatedly. They will not win a title without Aaron Gordon. It's Jokic, Murray, and Gordon. They have to have those 3. And they have to have those 3 playing at a high level. They can get by certain games without the best of Cam Johnson or the best of Christian Brown, or if the bench doesn't contribute a game here and there, maybe they can survive. But they're not winning the big prize unless they check the Murray, Jokic, and Gordon boxes. So it's certainly something to monitor tonight. And you could worry about down the road. But the fact of the matter is the Nuggets need this game if they are going to win this Wolves series, or else they will be trying to push back against a lot of history saying they will not win this series. And then you throw on top of it who they're playing. Right? This is not the 1-8 matchup. This is not drawing the play-in winner. This is your biggest rival. This is a team that has over the years, and as recently as game 2, given you a lot of problems. I don't see how the Denver Nuggets are going, barring something unforeseen, how they're going to win a series if they fall down 2-1 tonight. So Aaron Gordon, first things first, got to be healthy tonight. Healthy enough. But now this is a developing situation. This is now one of the big stories of this series. And it's going to be every day with this. I got to admit, I wasn't even really thinking about Aaron Gordon's health going in to game 3 too much. I mean, it's always on your mind because you know his history. But none of the conversation out of game 2 was, wow, Aaron Gordon looks hurt. He was, and now you start to wonder too, with him being as gassed as Jokic and Murray, and David Adelman said he was bringing the ball up. Well, how much of it was because he was bringing the ball up while exacerbating a condition he had? So in hindsight, you start to kind of go back and go, all right, so what was that really about? Aaron Gordon being tired in game 2. But you hear coaches say it all the time, one game at a time. So let's try to focus on that. They need him tonight. That's for sure. And they need him if, with all the conversation around the defense and of the Nuggets specifically, David Adelman continues to say it's not really what you think it is in terms of where the Nuggets need to improve in order to win tonight.
We win that game if we rebound the ball. So, 20-3 second chance in a playoff game is insane. Not to mention multiple tipped balls or loose balls at half court that led to points for them, free throws for them. That was discussed. That was watched. We clean that up and do the same things we've been doing. I think we'll be in a good spot.
Now, I may respectfully disagree slightly with David Adelman's assessment, but let's take it for what it is. Aaron Gordon less than 100% doesn't help that either. Now, Nikola Jokic is their best rebounder. That's the good news. Their second best rebounder is Aaron Gordon. And against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Nikola Jokic can't out-rebound the Timberwolves by himself. So even if you buy what David Adelman's saying there and go, okay, maybe it was more the rebounding. Maybe some of those possessions would have turned out better had they rebounded the ball. They need Aaron Gordon to do that. And Aaron Gordon's a big dude, but he still has to elevate. He still has to jump in order to get these rebounds. All eyes are going to be on him the first 5 minutes of this game to see how he's moving, if he is indeed in the lineup tonight. Again, listed as questionable. And this is not a positive development for the Nuggets in a game that is borderline must win, and it is certainly not ideal for the Denver Nuggets as you move forward and think about what is on the horizon for the Nuggets if they're fortunate enough to get through this first round with Minnesota. Game 3 tonight, 7:30. You could hear it on Extra Sports 1300. KVOR has the Avs and Kings game 3. That game will drop the puck at 8. So whether you're more intrigued by the Nuggets or by the Avalanche, we got you covered. Extra Sports 1300 for the Nuggets, KVOR for the Avalanche tonight. Our question of the day on our Facebook, simply drop your predictions. Avs, Nuggets, both. Who you got tonight? 719-247-1313. Take your thoughts there as well. Coming up next, we'll shift to the Avalanche because it appears Jared Bednar has made a decision about who will start in goal tonight as the Avs try to go up 3-0. I'll tell you what the tea leaves are reading like next here on 740 KVOR and Extra Sports 1300. While terror and panic sets in across Nuggets Nation, everything's pretty chill right now in Avalanche territory as the Avs get ready for Game 3 of their series against the LA Kings, trying to go up 3-0. The numbers say that there's a better chance right now that the Avalanche will sweep LA than the Kings will come back and win this series. But Avs still need to do the job. And this is not a time for the Avalanche to reinvent the wheel and try some outlandish things when it would behoove them to win this game. And a lot is working right now. And to that end, Jesse Montano of Guerrilla Sports in Denver is reporting via Twitter that it looks like Scott Wedgwood is going to be in goal again tonight. He's obviously been terrific the first 2 games of the series. I understand what Jared Bednar said leading up to the playoffs about trusting both goalies, about his plans to give both of them a chance. But it's one thing to say that with 5 or 10 games left in the regular season. It's another thing to say it or actually do it in the heat of the playoffs. And I always believed that at some point, the Avalanche were going to have to choose a guy. Their number 1 goalie. They were going to have to choose that. It just 4 teams. Actually, I lie. 2 teams that I can recall, 2 that are a little bit ahead earlier than my time upon further research. There are only 4 teams that I can pull out of my head or out of the internet for teams that have won a Stanley Cup with a true goalie rotation. The ones that I can think of, the Carolina Hurricanes in 2002. Remember that team. They did not end up winning the Stanley Cup, but they got there. And then the Vegas Golden Knights, when they won a Stanley Cup, you could say it was goalie tandem. It was more, I think it was more, we went with this guy and then we kind of didn't like this guy anymore, so we went with the other guy. So I don't even know that that was a true goalie tandem, but it was 2 goalies ending up getting about equal time throughout the postseason. And then upon further research, maybe you know the 72 Boston Bruins did this, and the Edmonton Oilers, the dynastic Oilers, would cycle through goalies. You can confirm or deny that because, again, that last Oilers team to win a Stanley Cup was 87. I was 2. So if you lived through that, you can let me know. But it's rare. Okay. And I know that our perception of goaltending and the importance of it has changed a little bit. The idea that, you know, Patrick Waugh, Dominic Hasek, Martin Brodeur, they just don't exist anymore. So you can pick the reason. Is it because teams have decided they would rather have 2 guys than 1 guy? Or is it because there are fewer and fewer goaltenders that you could label as that guy? I mean, look at right now. Dallas has bounced back nicely after that horrendous game 1. But there was a lot of talk about maybe going to Casey DeSmith at some point. And Jake Ottinger would be one of the guys on a short list where you're like, yeah, he's a franchise goalie. So I think it's a little bit of both. You could just decide what is more the reason. What caused what? Fewer franchise-level goaltenders, so teams out of necessity said we got to get 2 guys that are maybe not of franchise quality, but we could kind of move them back and forth and get by. Or did teams make this decision because of, salary cap or whatever, and then we haven't had many goalies get the opportunity to be a full franchise number one goalie? But that really is a separate conversation. It has fascinated me. But this is about the Colorado Avalanche and whether, and I was thinking this watching game 2. Is there really a reason? Like, what is the practical reason to get Mackenzie Blackwood in goal at this point? Now, you may think back to the Stanley Cup run and remember Pavel Francouz. But I kind of remember it was Darcy Kemper for the most part, until he got hurt. And then it was Francouz in the Western Conference Final. I mean, you could say, to have Blackwood ready in case the worst happens with Scott Wedgwood, in case he falls off, something like that. But I don't know. You do that right now. And also to the idea of what if Scott Wedgwood starts to falter, you want Mackenzie Blackwood with the game under his belt and some playing time. Do you believe that Scott Wedgwood's going to fall off with the way he's been playing? Like, I believe Jared Bednar when he says that he was intending to go into the playoffs with a goalie rotation. But I think as much as you and I, Scott Wedgwood has made it almost impossible for him to do that. And here's Brett Kulak talking about how big Scott Wedgwood has been through these first 2 games.
For me, I haven't known him long, but coming in, he's been outstanding. And even last night again, on the save on the penalty shot, and that's just one of the few saves I can think of. But to keep us in the game and essentially be a big part of the win is pretty good. And it's been huge. It's big in the playoffs to have goaltending like that.
And he hits the nail on the head there when he says Wedgwood being a part of the win and pointing out the saves he made, especially the penalty shot save on Quentin Byfield. Scott Wedgwood hasn't just, made the saves he's supposed to. He hasn't done just a serviceable job in goal for the Colorado Avalanche. He's been outstanding. The Avalanche have not allowed a 5-on-5 goal through 2 games. And Wedgwood has come up with highlight reel momentum shifting or momentum sustaining saves for this team over the first 2 games. I just think if you put in Mackenzie Blackwood, it's not to say that the Avs are less confident with him in goal or anything like that, but I got to imagine an Avalanche player in a quiet moment would be looking at like, why are we doing this? Jared Bednar just talked, I think it was yesterday, about how he's not going to make a lot of lineup changes. Now, Ross Colton may be in tonight for Yoel Kiviranta, but that's a minor move. Like, he's kept the lines intact from one game to the next and promises to do more of the same going into tonight. Same thing applies here. Scott Wedgwood has been a part of that. So why not leave well enough alone? And it's not just well enough. That's diminishing what Scott Wedgwood has done. He's been outstanding. He's earned the right to keep going out there. And this is kind of a dream scenario if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan. And it reminds me so much of that playoff run when they won the Stanley Cup, right? Same questions around Darcy Kemper. I like him. Yeah, he's the number 1 guy or 1A or whatever you wanted to phrase it. But I don't know, when we get to the playoffs, what are we going to see? And then you saw Darcy Kemper play extremely well. and he gets hurt, and Pavel Francouz takes center stage against the Oilers in the Western Conference Final, and it opened back up the question going into the Stanley Cup Final. And then what happened? Jared Bednar went to Darcy Kuemper, and the Colorado Avalanche ended up winning a Stanley Cup. So you wanted to see it from Scott Wedgwood. Maybe you were questioning it through 2 games. I don't know that you can question him, and things can change. You know, that Minnesota or Dallas are waiting on the other side of this. Right? Things can always change, and that's part of being a good head coach, is to be able to take in new information and make your adjustments or make your decisions based on that new information. Maybe Jared Bednar didn't think Scott Wedgwood would even be this good. But because of the way Scott Wedgwood has played, Jared Bednar reportedly has decided, yeah, I'm sticking with this guy. And if the wheels fall off, then like the Avs had back when they won the Stanley Cup, you feel good about your backup or your 1B or whatever you want to call Mackenzie Blackwood. You feel decent about him. And this isn't just a hot hand with Scott Wedgwood. This is him doing exactly what he did all season long when he led the league in goals allowed, average, and save percentage. This is not Scott Wedgwood playoff riser. This is Scott Wedgwood perpetuating what he was throughout the season into the postseason. So that it doesn't feel like fool's gold with him. So I'm with this. If this is what Jared Bednar is going to do, I applaud the move. And I like Mackenzie Blackwood. This isn't an anti-Mackenzie Blackwood thing. This is the dream scenario. You like Blackwood. You were intending to give him time because you trust him. But Scott Wedgwood has been so good, there's no reason to go to Blackwood. No reason to break glass. There's no emergency here. Roll with Wedgwood into game 3. And if Jared Bednar is duping everybody, I'll get back on this show tomorrow and say, I don't know why you didn't just stick with Scott Wedgwood, regardless of the result. But it's being reported that, again, Guerrilla Sports are reporting that it appears, rumor, whatever, that the Avalanche are going to stick with Scott Wedgwood tonight in game 3 as the Colorado Avalanche look to push LA to the verge of elimination. We'll talk more about tonight's game and what you may be expecting or what you hope to see from the Avs as the series shifts to LA. Again, 8 o'clock puck drop, at least allegedly. You can hear it on 740 KVOR. 719-247-1313. So 2 things on the table right now. You got Aaron Gordon downgraded to questionable for tonight's game 3 and what I feel is a must win. And it appears Scott Wedgwood is going to have the net tonight for the Colorado Avalanche in game 3. So take the conversation wherever you'd like to go. 719-247-1313. Join us Monday, May 4th at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo for the Small Business Bash and Awards celebration. Networking, festivities, live music, and, of course, awards. They wouldn't be able to call it an awards celebration if they didn't give out awards. And it kicks off Small Business Week with workshops, panels, and networking events. Small Business Week hosted by Pikes Peak SBDC, Colorado Springs Chamber, and EDC, and the Better Business Bureau of Southern Colorado. You can register for all of it right now at kvor.com. 719-247-1313 is the text line and phone line, coincidentally, if you'd like to weigh in on the day's topics. Obviously, Game 3 for both the Avalanche and the Nuggets tonight is our primary topics of conversation, but there's also this. Ray, do you have the text line in front of you to read a text that came in? Go ahead.
From Brandon. The New England area is in shambles, Ryan, and I'm all for it, because just 3 months ago, they were mocking us for a game that we know should have and laughing at us, and because our QB was injured. Oh, how the tables have turned. Go Broncos.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sympathetic people out there in the NFL world right now for what is going on with the New England Patriots. So a couple of things here on the day of the NFL draft. Mike Vrabel has said he is going to counseling this weekend based on his, can we just call it the affair with Diana Rossini? I'm under no, this is not a court of law. Can we just call it, if you want me to say alleged, I'll say alleged. Alleged affair with Diana Rossini. But he's going to counseling. During one of the, biggest weeks of the year, like I would certainly hope that his family would take precedent over, day 3 picks. So that's really not, it's just another part of this is that he will not be around day 3 as he seeks counseling. He is scheduled to speak tonight after the Patriots make their first round selection. So there are going to be a lot of people watching very closely to see if the New England Patriots stay in the first round. But then you have another New York Post story, complete with pictures dating back to 2020, with what sure appears to be Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel canoodling at a bar somewhere. So the pictures that have come out make it look like this has been going on since at least 2020. And by the way, that moves back the timeline of all of this stuff. There was a time where we thought this kind of just happened. They just happened to meet each other at this resort recently. And it sure looks like it goes back a long way. And Diana Rossini has paid, at least in the public eye, at least in her professional life, she has paid the price. She resigned. And I didn't think that it was necessary or necessarily going to happen that Rossini stepped down and Vrabel does. But the more and more, the reach of this, as it grows, if it continues down this road, I don't know how Mike Vrabel doesn't step down. And I get it. Like Diana Rossini, it's kind of a double whammy with her because obviously it's they both have to answer to their families, and they're the people that are most affected by this. And I feel terrible for the Vrabels and the Rossinis to be dragged into this because these two people couldn't conduct themselves in a proper way, they're having to be brought into the public eye for all of this. So I hate it for them. They're the real victims in all of this. But I thought that Diana Rossini also has the fact that her job is conveying NFL information. And who she is getting that from and what the motivation is by the source that she has to give her this information, I'm not surprised that she resigned. And not to say that Diana Rossini, what she did is worse than what Mike Vrabel did. But because Mike Vrabel's job is not about journalistic integrity, and it's about winning football games, and the fact he just went to the Super Bowl, I didn't think it was going to happen that Rossini stepped down and Vrabel would follow. But now Rossini's stepped down. She's kind of out, like she's still being brought up, but like the consequences for her are now between her and her family. With Mike Vrabel, he's still in the public eye. He's going to speak tonight. He spoke the other day. He's expecting to coach the New England Patriots this season. So guess who the person, every time the New York Post brings up another story, publishes another picture, Mike Vrabel cannot hide from this like maybe Diana Rossini can. And the drum beats are going to get louder and louder for Mike Vrabel to step down. And and I'm not saying that it's today. I'm not saying it's with this latest New York Post story that has come out. I'm just saying every day goes by and there seems to be more. So I don't know if the New York Post is doing a slow leak of all of this stuff. I don't know how much more is going to come out. But if more comes out, I think it's going to be more difficult for Mike Vrabel to keep his job. And I know this is an organization in the New England Patriots that scandal is nothing new to them. And they have been able to get through Spygate and Deflategate and Robert Kraft. And they're still here. And nobody lost their job for any of these things. But you got to wonder at some point if it's even too much for the New England Patriots. And even if the New England Patriots are steadfast, and Robert Kraft, because he's certainly not one to judge anybody on their morality, says, I'm sticking by Mike Vrabel. You have to wonder if it's actually in the best interest of the Patriots for him to remain the head coach. Because, yes, Mike Vrabel doesn't have journalism ethics to adhere to, but he is the leader of this football team. At what point do the New England Patriots players and coaches, have more information come out, hear more things, and look at this guy and go, this guy can't tell me anything. Can't be the leader. He's not going to be the leader of me. I know the first guy that's willing to jump ship is Travion Henderson. I can't sit here and say I know where that inflection point is, where that tipping point is. I don't know if it's one more story, 5 more stories, 20 more stories. How many pictures? I don't know. But it seems to get bigger by the day, and it's not slowing down. right in a time when we're in the NBA and NHL playoffs. This is still the biggest story. This overshadows the entirety of this weekend. Already a draft that lacks some excitement is now completely overshadowed by what's going on in New England. And I know the Patriots will eventually, recede into their homes and not be out on the field, but anytime they pop their heads out, they're going to be asked about this. And I'm not rooting for anything to happen one way or another. I just think, it was probably best for Diana Rossini to do what she did. And it's getting to the point where you could argue it's probably for the best that Mike Vrabel do the same. I mean, if it was, here's another thing that I was wondering about. To my earlier point about how the New England Patriots are not, new when it comes to scandal. What are the circumstances that would lead to Mike Vrabel having already stepped down? Like, is that a different organization? Is it the success on the field? And for the latter, I'm kind of in on that. What happened with Robert Kraft's a different thing because he's the boss. It's not like anyone else in the Patriots organization is going to fire Robert Kraft. And, he's got the backing of the brotherhood of NFL owners. But part of the reason why Belichick and Brady didn't get punished by New England or this stuff, because those two figures were bigger than the organization. They had job security. If New England at any point was like, this isn't great that we have all of these, cheating scandals with Bill Belichick, they kept winning. So I'm very sure that one of the circumstances that has kept Mike Vrabel from already going down this road is that he went to a Super Bowl last year. Don't you think if this happened to Gerard Mayo or Mike Vrabel had the season Gerard Mayo did, I think there's a high likelihood that Mike Vrabel would have been gone. But even with the winning, if this were in a different organization, what would the reaction be? And would there be a higher probability that Mike Vrabel will be forced to step down? If he was in the Broncos, he was the Broncos head coach. I can't see that Greg Penner would be thrilled with that. I guess the Broncos are not a great example because while we have gotten to know Greg Penner, I don't know that we know him as well as we know Robert Kraft, because Kraft's been the owner of the Patriots forever. I wonder if in a different organization that would have been a wrap for Mike Vrabel. But the one thing I can say is if Mike Vrabel didn't have the success he had last year, I think there's a high likelihood that if he went 2-15 and this happened, he'd be gone. What he did for the Patriots as a player doesn't matter. But I think absolutely what's protecting Mike Vrabel is an AFC championship. But I don't know how long that's going to hold up. 719-24/7-1313. Do you think this ends with Mike Vrabel not being the head coach of the New England Patriots? This is one of the faces of your organization that has apparently, reportedly, allegedly had an affair going all the way back to 2020 now with the latest New York Post story. And who knows, it might not be the end of it. But this is the story. I saw a video from ESPN today, or somebody clipped something from ESPN where First Take is talking about how they don't want to talk about this, but yet you have to. I didn't want to talk about this. But it's this massive story, and I think it's now getting into the realm of impacting the New England Patriots moving forward. This isn't just some gossip anymore. But tonight on the NFL Drive, you better believe that this is going to be brought up. And the New England Patriots are set to make a pick in the first round, and Mike Vrabel is scheduled to speak to the New England media after. Stay tuned. 719-247-1313 coming up next. What do the Nuggets need to do to win tonight's pivotal game 3? You're listening to Drive Time Sports on 740 KVOR and Extra Sports 1300. Welcome in. Appreciate you watching the show wherever you scroll at 740 KVOR and at Extra Sports 1300. The text line and the phone line, you may need it here before I give you the big news. 719-24-7, 1313. Breaking news from Chris Haynes. Aaron Gordon will not play tonight for the Denver Nuggets in Game 3 against the Minnesota Timberwolves due to a calf injury. He was downgraded to questionable earlier today. I started the show by talking about how Nuggets really need that guy, and now he's out. For a game that the winner historically has gone on to win the series about 80% of the time. I have been accused at times of being an alarmist, being negative. Let me turn it around on you. Tell me the positive in this. Tell me why the Denver Nuggets do not lose tonight and have their series come to an end in the first round. Because history will tell you the winner of tonight's game will go on to win this series. And this is Aaron Gordon we're talking about. This is not, if it was just like Nikola Jokic, right? Up until this year, he's missed games, but hasn't missed a lot of games in a row like he did this year. If this was just something that flared up based on something that happened in Game 2 or happened to a player that does not have the injury history of Aaron Gordon, it would be treated in a different way. Now, Game 3, depending on who the player was, you might pack it up and say, yeah, they're not winning tonight. But maybe you'd hold on to some hope that the series could be salvaged once that player comes back. And maybe Aaron Gordon does come back for Saturday. Maybe he does. But we're talking about Aaron Gordon. And now 2 years in a row, the Denver Nuggets facing a vitally important, borderline must-win game. Certainly Game 7 last year was a must-win against OKC. You could argue this is a must-win too. We're talking about Aaron Gordon either not being even close to 100%, or I'll put it this way. We're either talking about how Aaron Gordon should not play or is not playing. Right? You saw Aaron Gordon in Game 7. Probably shouldn't have played. Give him all the credit in the world that he did. Probably shouldn't have. And now here we are in a game that the Nuggets really need, coming off of a game where their ability to defend at an NBA level has been called into question, and now your best defender is not available at all to you. So tell me how this ends well. Because I think with this news, I think you could say bye-bye to the Nuggets' title chances. We can squabble about whether it comes to an end in this round, whether it comes to an end in the next round, ultimately at the hands of OKC, as I have predicted. But how with 3 games in, Aaron Gordon already having to miss, and because of what he did in Game 7, and I'm sure David Adelman will say, if it was Game 7, he would have played. Okay, but how would he have looked? Guys don't get healthier as the postseason wears on. They get less healthy. So let's spin it the most optimistic way you can. Nuggets, regardless of the result tonight, okay, they still end up winning this series against Minnesota. Do you have faith that this is the last we have heard of Aaron Gordon's calf injury? Or an Aaron Gordon injury, for that matter? I can't, I understand that it's like that old financial planner, like past history cannot be a judge of future results. I know a thing is a thing until it's not, but we're talking about a soft tissue injury in the NBA to a player that has been extremely prone to them over the last couple of years. So I feel like previous history is some indicator of future results. We're in game 3. And Aaron Gordon's not playing. And again, I'll reiterate it. I'm sure David Adelman will spin it in a positive way. If this was a game 7, he would absolutely play. This is precautionary. This is abundance of caution. All of those buzzwords and phrases that coaches use to not incite panic. I don't have the duty that David Adelman does. I would like to incite panic if you're a Nuggets fan, because you should be panicking. If they don't have Aaron Gordon, they're not winning an NBA title. And if they don't have Aaron Gordon, I don't even think they win this series. This is massive in a game that the Denver Nuggets absolutely need to get. I mean, I almost feel like playing audio from David Adelman about what can change is like a moot point now. I mean, he talked about rebounding, second chance points, 20-3. That's an Aaron Gordon thing. Half-court offense. Let's play that audio.
I didn't think our half-court offense struggled. I thought we missed really good shots. Outside of one possession where Jamal was, late in the clock, had to force one up. I'll take Jokic shooting a jump hook, Maul coming off a double action with a wide-open 3. Those are shots I want those guys to shoot.
And at least he didn't mention yesterday Aaron Gordon in that mix, or else it would be worse. But Aaron Gordon in that dunker spot makes the Denver Nuggets half-court offense the best in the league. And for what it's worth, I actually agree with David Adelman. I do think that the Nuggets will make some of the shots they miss in game 2. But a key component in them being such a good half-court offense is Aaron Gordon. And you saw Aaron Gordon have to relieve Jamal Murray of his duties bringing the ball up the court because Jamal Murray was so gassed, and now they don't have that option. Aaron Gordon is the connective tissue with this team. He is what has tied them together. He's what helped take a promising team on the come up in the bubble into a title team. What's the record, Ray? I'm sure a quick Google search will find it. 21-9 or something, the record this season when Aaron Gordon plays. Like, he's not your. This isn't, with all due respect. Oh, I won't even name names. The only players more important to the Nuggets' success than Aaron Gordon are Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Do you have that? Did you find that? What was the record?
27-9.
20, even worse. 27-9 this season when Aaron Gordon plays. And remind me, Ray, who didn't play the one time that Minnesota beat Denver this regular season?
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon. I'm sorry. This is
just
go ahead, Ray. I know you want to talk about this. Go ahead.
I have a lot, but one thing that really incites panic is, remember, Aaron Gordon had to come in for Big Val while Jokic was out because Big Val wasn't doing great. So they had Aaron Gordon come in last game.
Well, yeah. So let's add this to the list. I got my handy dandy notepad out. So he is the team's second best rebounder. He's the second or third option bringing the ball up the court. He is essentially Nikola Jokic's backup during the playoffs. He is their best defender, bearing the lead here, the most important thing that he does. I mean, how many more things can we list in terms of Aaron Gordon and his importance to this team that they're now going to be without? And it's not quite like losing Wemby in the middle of the game like San Antonio did, but what does this do to morale for the Denver Nuggets? Right? They know this game is a big one. They won't say it out loud. They didn't want to give Jaden McDaniels too much oxygen in his comments. But I mean, you wouldn't have a pulse if you wouldn't be a living, breathing human if you didn't take exception to what Jaden McDaniels said. You get hyped up for this game, knowing the stakes with this team, with the comments that were made, and now, what, 3 hours until tip-off, you find out the heart of this basketball team has been ripped out of their chest. I don't think that the Denver Nuggets win tonight. I don't. And history will tell you that means they will not win this series. I'll take your thoughts on it at 719-247-1313. There is a broader conversation about this too. Because if this Denver Nuggets season ends here in this round, that would be back-to-back seasons that the end of a Nuggets playoff run has coincided with an Aaron Gordon injury. We've already had the conversation about how realistically you can't bring Peyton Watson, Cam Johnson, and Aaron Gordon all back. And when I have brought up that on this show, the obvious thing has been, okay, well, we're not even deciding between the three of them, because Aaron Gordon, you're not going to let him go. And I would agree with you. If you could lose one, Aaron Gordon, you're not even considering. It would be between Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson. But I am of the mind that I don't think the Nuggets cost-cutting moves are stopping there. Now, if I told you had to pick two players that wouldn't be back with the Denver Nuggets last year or next year, excuse me, would you still say, well, it's got to be Peyton Watson and Cam Johnson? You can't let go of Aaron Gordon. I mean, this is a team in their championship window. And this is no fault of Aaron Gordon's. It really isn't. That dude, I don't know if he's a jersey retire guy, but he's going to go down as one of the most revered and beloved Denver Nuggets ever. This is not criticism of Aaron Gordon. This is the cold reality of the NBA. Because of the financial rules in place, it almost punishes teams for being good. It punished the Denver Nuggets after they won a title. And it's continuing to punish them. This is not on Aaron Gordon. But if the whole premise of the Denver Nuggets right now is you have to do everything you can to win Jokic a title, how many more playoff runs can you go through waiting for something like this to happen? It is extremely unfortunate. It's not his fault. That dude is in tremendous shape, and all he has done is worked his butt off in Denver. He even made himself over one offseason to be a good three-point shooter. But tough decisions are required. And if the Nuggets get bounced in the first round, trust me, there's going to be a lot of soul searching going on. There's going to be a lot of difficult questions asked about this team and where they go from here. And if this injury goes beyond this game, I think Aaron Gordon's future with the Nuggets has to be among those questions. Because the Nuggets are trying to win titles. And they got to cut down on the variables. You got to be able to count on guys. And it's not who Aaron Gordon is on the court. You can count on that dude every night out. But if he's not available for you, or he's severely hampered in a game 7 or in a pivotal game 3, can he just keep running it back? Now, maybe that's for down the road. Maybe that's for more if we see how serious this injury is. I guess we could just keep the focus here on tonight. Aaron Gordon being out. Are the Nuggets winning? 719-24-7, 1313. Our Facebook question of the day is your game 3 predictions. Now, you got a key piece of information when it comes to the Nuggets. Go ahead and let us know. 719-24-7, 1313. Coming up next, the Avalanche in their game 3. It's been pretty good so far, but still room to improve. What I'm looking for tonight in LA next on 740 KVOR and Extra Sports 1300. Breaking news of the day, and it's not great if you're a Nuggets fan. Aaron Gordon out for tonight's pivotal Game 3 with the Minnesota Timberwolves with a calf injury. Now, I think what will happen is I would expect Spencer Jones to start in Aaron Gordon's place because Peyton Watson's not available yet. David Adelman said he hopes to have him back this series, and it didn't. I think it's still a lot of confidence that he will be back, but that's the hope. That's not Game 3. That's not tonight. So I would expect Spencer Jones to start at the 4. And now Jonas Valanciunas, who played, I don't know, it felt like an hour, but I think it was like 3 minutes, and it was a disaster. He's gonna have to play because Spencer Jones sometimes plays when they go super small, and they keep Jonas Valanciunas out. They can't do that. I think these are the adjustments. I think Jonas Valanciunas has to play a role tonight for the Denver Nuggets to win this game, and Spencer Jones is going to have to be in there. And now there is, again, don't accuse me of being negative all the time. I'm always looking for the silver lining here. You could certainly make the argument that a healthy Spencer Jones may do the Nuggets some good over a severely hampered Aaron Gordon. But the fact is, the best of Spencer Jones, I mean, I would have to, you'd have to tell me what Aaron Gordon would be at. And more, my thing is beyond this. Right? I'm looking bigger picture here. Beyond tonight. Could I see a scenario in which the Nuggets survive on pure straight hatred for Jaden McDaniels? And could I see Minnesota being a little bit overconfident that Aaron Gordon's out? I could. I don't know. The game being in Minnesota, I don't know that fan base will let the Wolves kind of choke this game away. So on a one, it's almost like talking about a backup quarterback, and I know that's somewhat triggering in this state, but generally, teams are capable of getting by for a game or two without their quarterback. But there's a reason why the 49ers go back to Brock Purdy. There's a reason why the Broncos are going back to Bo Nix. Now, yes, I know Jarrett Stidham lost the game, but you get what I'm saying here. They go back to their starter because their starter is their starter because he's better. But can you formulate a game plan to minimize the loss of somebody? I think it will be a big test for David Adelman tonight, no? Show what David Adelman's made of. If he can figure out combinations and scheme to be able to help the Denver Nuggets win this crucial game without Aaron Gordon, I'll be the first to say tomorrow to start the show that it was a brilliant coaching job by David Adelman, but I still would have the bigger question of how serious is the calf injury? How soon is it until it pops up again? Is he going to miss game 4 as well? We're already after game 2 talking about how the Nuggets now being in this dogfight may make you less confident in their ability to win 7-game series after 7-game series after 7-game series. Well, now with the injury to Aaron Gordon, and if this goes on, if this is not just a tonight thing, then certainly you would expect this series to be a long one. And then you got a 7-gamer against the Spurs potentially and a 7-gamer against OKC. I mean, for one night, I don't know. Maybe I can be moved off of my position that the Wolves are definitely going to win this game. But that's not what the Nuggets are here for. The Nuggets aren't even here to eliminate the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're here to accomplish much more than that. And without Aaron Gordon, the chances of them doing that take a catastrophic hit. Take your thoughts at 719-247-1313. Avs also playing game 3 tonight. Maybe not quite as consequential as the Nuggets game tonight, but I still think important. And I think it's very difficult to sweep a team. So that's going to be there. If the Avs win tonight, that questions or that idea is going to come up over the next couple of days, right? How difficult it is to eliminate a team. Teams are fighting to keep their season alive. But I actually think in some way tonight has more, the emotion level is higher for this one. Because even though it is difficult to sweep a team or to just eliminate a team, I think tonight with the series shifting to LA, for the fans in crypto tonight, for the players to understand that, yes, as difficult as it might be to eliminate a team, essentially the Kings would be dead men walking. It would be a matter of when, not if, the Colorado Avalanche finish off the series. But a win tonight, and then all of a sudden it all seems possible again for the LA Kings. So I think tonight there's even more emotion. I think in some ways this is a more difficult game to win than a game 4 to end up sweeping LA. Because the harsh reality of your season is going to come to an end creeps in. If it hasn't already, it will certainly creep in if the Avs go up 3-0. So I think this makes it, as much as people say that last game, that elimination game being the hardest to win, I kind of think there's some reasons to think this is the hardest game to win for the Colorado Avalanche, because the series is shifting to LA. The building is going to be hyped. The players are going to be desperate. And as I look at what the Avs can improve upon or do to try and counter that and to win anyway, I think now I'm looking to the big dogs and the dog most of all. It's been a great early trend that the Avs are getting the production they are from the third and fourth line. Okay, they're not winning a Stanley Cup if Nathan MacKinnon has no goals. They're not winning a Stanley Cup if Cale Makar has no goals. I think tonight would be the perfect opportunity for Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar to announce to that Bull Durham line, announce their presence in this series with authority. You've noticed them. They've contributed. I'm not saying that Nathan MacKinnon or Cale Makar have played bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I think tonight would be a great night for them to get on the team sheet in terms of scoring. And I actually think it might be necessary for the Colorado Avalanche to win tonight, that Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar have their fingerprints all over this one. Because when the stakes and emotions and everything are as high as they will be with this third game, that's where you look to your best players to lead you through. So what I'm looking for tonight, without the consequence for the Colorado Avalanche, I'm certainly not thinking that the Avs are going to lose the series if they lose tonight. But I'm looking to see if Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar make a grand appearance in this series, because they're not winning a Stanley Cup without those two guys being the two best players on the ice every game. So it's been great, the fourth line The third line has been terrific. You love the depth. The Avs are going to need that too. Scott Wedgwood has been terrific in goal, and it's the word on the street is that Wedgwood will be in net tonight for the Avs. All that is great, and it's part of what has made this first 2 games for the Avalanche so impressive is that they're not getting, Nathan MacKinnon to go galactic or for Cale Makar to be exploiting all this time and space and doing things that only Cale Makar can do. They haven't had that yet, and they're still here up 2-0 in the series. So that's what I'm looking for in game 3. Nate, Cale specifically. See if they make a bigger impact, especially on the score sheet than they have. Shifting more towards the top lines tonight. I think if they're going to beat LA, Nathan MacKinnon and or Cale Makar will have to have a big say. That game coming up 8:00 on 740 KVOR. Nuggets and Wolves game 3 on Extra Sports 1300. Your thoughts on either at 719-24/7 1313. Coming up next, I don't know what he's going to do, but Adam Silver has to do something about the OKC Thunder. This is way too up-tempo music for the tone of the show today. And I don't know why I'm bothering with teases, because every time I tease something, I go to break and I find out something. Well, here's the latest from Mike Reese, one of the most esteemed Patriot insiders. Met Mike when the Patriots practice at the Air Force Academy. You don't care about any of this. I'm just saying he's a good source. Update to the Patriots media schedule. Mike Vrabel will address reporters prior to the start of tonight's draft at approximately 7:20 or 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:20, 5:30 our time in the media workroom. What is this? So we have gone from waking up today, Aaron, not even thinking about Aaron Gordon potentially missing tonight's game, to he's now downgraded to questionable, and now he's out. So could the Vrabel story today be following a similar trend? We woke up today, yes, we were all cognizant of the Mike Vrabel story. Then more stuff comes out. Mike Vrabel is scheduled to talk to the media after the Patriots draft in the first round tonight, which would be late. And now they're moving it up. This is significant. And Ray and I were talking during the break. I mean, I don't know what else it would be other than him resigning. Like, I would be shocked if he resigned, but what other purpose does this serve? To just get all the questions about TMZ and the New York Post out of the way before the draft starts? And then have him speak again? Or could it be that now he's announcing that he's not going to be a part of the draft at all? I guess I could see that. But I think one way or another, Mike Vrabel's not speaking tonight. So I think it's got to be one of two things. It's either that he's saying, I'm not speaking tonight. After we make our first round pick, I'm going to say something while saying nothing, which is what he did the other day about this situation. And then he's not going to be available after, or he's resigning. I'll leave it up to you to decide which you think that is. But this is not like, oh, it might just fit better in our schedule to have Mike Vrabel talk at 520 Mountain. Something is going on that they feel like they need to shift the schedule and get Mike Vrabel out in front of the media before the draft begins. So it's something. What that something is, I guess we'll find out together, because he's going to speak next hour. And we'll certainly keep an eye on it. Ray, do you think, just gut feeling, because it just happened, so we're all just, going off the top of our head here, going from our gut on what we think. Do you think that Mike Vrabel is going to resign tonight as the Patriots head coach?
I think so.
You think so?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but some of the photos and more information that came out today came
one
out
from the New York Post, one from TMZ.
Right. Came out after New England said what Vrabel's plan was.
The way I understand it, and that's a good question. The way I understand it is he was always scheduled to talk after the first round, because obviously that's what head coaches do. Sean Payton talks after the Broncos make a first round pick. So it wasn't that they put him on the schedule before all this came out. He was already on it.
Right.
And then this stuff came out. So it's important clarification that, yes, the stuff that we have seen today is since we knew Mike Vrabel was going to speak to the media tonight.
Okay, so I don't know if that affects it, where it's like more and more just keeps coming out. And
Well, he's going to be asked anyway.
no, I think so. No, that's the number one story. I felt bad for the rookie who gets drafted to New England tonight because the story is just going to be about this. But yeah, I would say so because it's like it's just a weird time. It's just weird.
It is very weird. It is worth noting, and I would even say if he does the word salad thing that he did the other day, and basically admitting without admitting to the affair with Diana Rossini, I still think that's significant because what I was expecting going into it tonight would be like with AZ Fudd the other day, new Dallas Wings player, right? She meets with the media after getting drafted by the Dallas Wings. Somebody brings up her relationship with Paige Beckers. PR comes in, shuts it down, and says she's not answering those questions. I was expecting a similar scene in New England where Mike Vrabel gets on there and either preemptive strike and says, I'm only here to talk about our first round pick, or someone from Patriots PR, once he is inevitably asked about what has come out today, will step in and say he's not answering those questions.
Right.
So that's what I was expecting it to be. That could have been done at 11 o'clock tonight or whatever time it may be. It does not need to be done at 5:20.
No.
So either he's going to say something like a statement like he had the other day, or can you announce and I said this, a leave of absence, him announcing he's not going to be a part of the Patriots draft at all?
But you're really going to make a big thing about that? You're going to have him change the time to before the draft. You can't just make a press release?
Well, no, because everyone's expecting for him to speak, and if he doesn't speak, it would just be open season on the New England Patriots that Mike Vrabel is ducking everybody. So this is him getting out in front, not getting out in front of it. My goodness, he has not gotten out in front of anything in this. But this could be, him quasi-addressing what happened and then saying, I'm not going to be available tonight or for the rest of the draft. I'm leaving now. So that's why I said it could be that, which I think is significant, but it's not the most significant thing that could happen.
I would say it's one of those two. Because there's nothing else it could possibly be. It's either I'm not part of the draft.
Do you think that the New England Patriots announced that they've traded their pick? And Mike Vrabel is there to announce they have traded their picks.
Oh. Wow.
For AJ Brown.
Oh, I forgot about that. Wow.
Can you consummate? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Right. You can announce a trade beforehand.
Yeah.
So could it be that between now and 5:20, we hear that AJ Brown is now a new member of the New England Patriots, and that's the reason why they're moving up the press conference to 7:20 Eastern?
That would be kind of funny. I'd be honestly hilarious.
AJ Brown being used as a pawn to deflect attention.
Yeah.
That's going to start the AJ Brown Patriots marriage off on a
great note.
On a great note for a guy who has worn out his welcome in his last place. You think
it's going to be
that's the third option.
Third option
is that we find out that they traded for AJ Brown or traded their pick. They have made a trade, and that's why they're.
And they told Schefter and everybody, hey, be quiet about this trade.
Yeah, every time you bring up like Patriots and inside, like I can't even, like I cringe a little bit because of all of this whole situation. Right. The idea that the Patriots are going to say anything to any insider It's probably not the time for anybody to be putting out.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I just think with more and more coming out, that there's a decent chance he would just resign tonight, because it's not.
So that's what we have. We have either I'm actually leaving now for counseling,
Right.
and I'm going to make another statement about what came out today, or the Patriots trade for AJ Brown, and he's talking to the media before the draft because their draft night is over. They trade the first round pick for AJ Brown, which, by the way, not that anyone really cares at this point, that would not be a good trade for the New England Patriots. I think you negotiate with Philly and try to give up a second, but that's neither here nor there. Or the third option, door number 3, is he's resigning.
Yeah.
But we'll all find out in half an hour to 40 minutes. So stay tuned for that. Let's get to, I see Tom text in on Vrabel. Go ahead.
Why would Mike Vrabel resign? The only way I would see him doing that is if he's doing it to save his marriage, just so no more comes out.
Well, wouldn't that be... Well, the alternative, and I brought this up earlier, was how much more has to come out before you question the viability of Mike Vrabel being the head coach of the New England Patriots. Like, I know it's an organization that is well-versed in crisis management, and they have certainly dealt with this stuff, but you still have to wonder if at a certain point this becomes too toxic, too volatile for Mike Vrabel to remain the head coach. That would be the other reason. But to your potential reason, Tom, wouldn't that, I mean, couldn't you see that? I mean, couldn't you see that Mike Vrabel, I mean, he's already saying he's going to counseling. So clearly he feels remorse, and clearly he wants to do something about it. And I don't want to make light of that. Good on him for doing that. But couldn't that be the case? Couldn't he say that he needs to focus on his family and his marriage, and he's stepping away from coaching? You may see that as the only reason. I think that's a possible reason. I think that's entirely possible. That has to be the only reason. Or the only thing he would say. Right? When coaches, retire or whatever, they say, I'm going to spend more time with my family. Well, this is kind of right in line with that. I need to spend time with my wife. I need to repair the damage that has been done. I think I don't know how else he would phrase it, unless he says that he has brought great shame onto this proud franchise and he's going to step away. I mean, I guess that's another one, but I fully expect if he ever resigned to talk about his family. And I'm not saying that he would be lying, but we just seen coaches step away to spend more time with their family. I mean, this is the ultimate, like, you actually believe it. If Mike Vrabel were to say this, you'd actually believe him. We'll find out. Again, Mike Vrabel, his time to speak to the New England media, and let's be honest, it is probably half and half New England and national media, has been moved up. It was initially supposed to speak to the media after the first round, or after the New England Patriots made their pick. They're now moving him up, and he will speak at either 5:20 or 5:30 Mountain Time, and we'll let you know. I mean, we're not carrying it live, but we'll let you know what comes of this. But it's something. It's not nothing. This is something, and I would say the least of what it would be in terms of the most tame thing would be him just addressing what came out today and saying that he's not going to be around for the entirety of the draft, that he's leaving now to get into counseling. So We'll get. We got a minute.
Okay.
You can go ahead and read
Just real
Tom's
quick.
other text.
From Tom?
Yeah,
Okay.
just
There
while
was
we're
no
on the subject.
There are no football reasons for him to for resigning. As a Patriots fan, I don't care.
I would argue that football is the only thing keeping him employed. The success he had last season. And I understand where you're coming from. You could say that it's not necessarily your business, but I mean, you got to care a little bit about, I mean, this is your team, right? And your head coach is doing this kind of stuff. We'll see. More Drive Time Sports next. Hello there. Welcome in. Glad to have you, whether you're listening on 740 KVOR, Extra Sports 1300, streaming on the apps of those two fine radio stations, or watching the show live anywhere you scroll. I do very much appreciate it. If you would like to join the conversation, and those of you who have already did, we will get to your comments as we move through the final hour of this show. If you want to add to it, 719-247-1313, or you could also drop a comment on the live stream if that is how you're checking out the show today. I had, coming into the show, 3 things planned for what's driving the show. It's basically all changed. So here is the newly reimagined what's driving the show for today. All right, story number 1, Aaron Gordon out for tonight's pivotal Game 3 with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Earlier today, he was downgraded to questionable with a calf injury, and now he will not play at all as the Denver Nuggets play a game that the winner of said game goes on to win the series 3 out of every 4 times. So the odds of the Nuggets winning this series, if they lose tonight, are quite good, and they won't have the heart of their team. They won't have their best defensive player. They won't have one of their best rebounders, and they won't have a capable 3-point shooter, in addition to many other things that Aaron Gordon is for this team. The importance of Aaron Gordon, we have discussed it all throughout the season. I have said on many occasions the Denver Nuggets will not win a championship if Aaron Gordon isn't healthy. And now that if Aaron Gordon isn't healthy has become a win, it is now. And maybe the Denver Nuggets can finagle their way to a win tonight. I'm not overly optimistic, but maybe they do. How far can this team go if we're 3 games in and Aaron Gordon is already missing a game due to injury? I mean, this is a guy that this has happened before. The Nuggets season ended last year, or the end of their season coincided with an injury to Aaron Gordon. And it very well could now with this injury. And the thing with Aaron Gordon, as is the case with every player in these playoffs, they're not going to get healthier. This pops up now, and maybe it's to keep the Denver Nuggets from being able or to have him available for Game 4. Because if you're looking at it, if you're the Nuggets and you come back to Denver with a split, maybe you feel a little bit okay because you would have home court. But this is a soft tissue injury. This is Aaron Gordon. I have a hard time believing all he needs to do is sit one game and he'll be right as rain. And it's unfortunate. And that's why it's so gut-wrenching when Aaron Gordon does get hurt, because you know how important he is to this team. 27-9 was the Nuggets record this season when Aaron Gordon was in the lineup. And he will not be tonight. So all these other things about the Nuggets defending and rebounding and all this kind of stuff, every adjustment, every improvement that needs to be made by the Denver Nuggets, you can lower your expectation a little bit at least, because Aaron Gordon impacts so many aspects of this Denver Nuggets team, including morale. I mean, what a blow to the Nuggets morale this is, that they're going to be without someone who is the heartbeat of this team 3 hours before tip-off. I don't know that this is the interesting you wanted Game 3 to be, but Game 3 certainly got more interesting. You can hear it at 7:30 on Extra Sports 1300. Here, I do have audio for this. Here is Game 3 in regards to the Colorado Avalanche.
For me, I haven't known him long, but coming in, he's been outstanding, and even last night again, on the save on the penalty shot, and that's just one of the few saves I can think of. But to keep us in the game and essentially be a big part of the win is pretty good. And it's been huge. It's big in the playoffs to have goaltending like that.
That is Brett Kulak talking about Scott Wedgwood and his impact on this team through 2 games, and it appears that Jared Bednar will allow Scott Wedgwood to impact the Avalanche through at least 3 games, as it is being speculated upon from Guerrilla Sports and others that it will be Scott Wedgwood in goal tonight for the Avalanche in Game 3. And this was already going to be a question I brought up on this show. Is there a reason to go to Mackenzie Blackwood tonight? Even if this doesn't turn out to be, if this is all a smokescreen and a misdirection from Jared Bednar, what is the reason for playing Mackenzie Blackwood? Scott Wedgwood, to Brett Kulak's point, has not just, made the saves he's supposed to make. He hasn't been just serviceable as the Avs goaltender. He has been outstanding through 2 games. And I know Jared Bednar went into these playoffs thinking he was going to rotate these guys. Best laid plans, right? And this is the best version of it because you have a goalie you don't want to take out of the goal. And this is not anti-Mackenzie Blackwood. You may like Mackenzie Blackwood. But Scott Wedgwood, to me, has made it near impossible to not play him. He has been so good. And if I'm Jared Bednar with the confidence that Mackenzie Blackwood is still going to be able to help the Avs win games in these playoffs, I'm riding it out with Scott Wedgwood. And if something were to happen, that's why you have 2 goaltenders. But right now, you got a sweep within reach here. And Scott Wedgwood is one of the big reasons why you're up 2-0. Yeah, I would have given him the net tonight. We'll see if this is actually where the Colorado Avalanche are going to go. The other aspect of tonight's game that I'm looking for, Makar and McKinnon. Right? The depth of this Avalanche team has been terrific. It's been a big reason why they're up 2-0, because LA is going to has their backs up against the wall. They are desperate. Throw out every sports cliche in the book. With this series shifting to LA and how difficult of a game it is to beat a team in their first game in their barn after they fell behind 2-0, I think in order to win tonight's game and go up 3-0, I think number 29 or number 8 has to, or maybe both, have to have a large say in tonight's proceedings. And also, too, moving forward, you know that the Avs are not going to win a Stanley Cup if McKinnon and Makar are held off the score sheet. So tonight would be a great first night, even with O'Connor and Waugh contributing the way they are. Let the big dogs eat tonight. Avs and Kings coming up 8 o'clock on 740 KVOR. Now to story number 3, which was one thing and now has turned into something else. Just to catch you up, Mike Vrabel announced that he would not be with the Patriots day 3 of the NFL draft on Saturday, as he is going to undergo counseling after this alleged affair with Diana Rossini. But he was scheduled to speak after the Patriots made their first round pick tonight. The New England Patriots released a statement, said we stand by him. We're good to go. He's told us what he's looking for. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. The Patriots put out their support via a statement. Well, now, within the last hour, the New England Patriots have announced that Mike Vrabel is speaking in what is now 10 to 20 minutes. They have moved up his media availability. The three potential outcomes of what this is. The most benign, I guess, would be Mike Vrabel just saying, giving another statement based on what was released today by TMZ and the New York Post, which are essentially more pictures, more reports that this affair had been going on all the way back to 2020. So at the very least, this is another Mike Vrabel statement and an announcement that he will not be available at all the rest of the weekend. Kind of the off the wall idea. Maybe they make the AJ Brown trade and then now they don't have a first round pick. So that's why Mike Vrabel is going to talk, or this is him resigning. I would be shocked if it is him resigning. But I said earlier on in the show today, every day that goes by, more and more comes out. And with Diana Rossini already resigning, and I think she set her social media to private, like she's away now. Mike Vrabel is the guy that's going to answer for all of this stuff. And I wonder how much more can come out before the idea of Mike Vrabel resigning is on the table. I don't think that's now. That's why I say I'll be shocked if he does resign. But this is heading in a direction where I don't know, even the New England Patriots, in their sordid past, in all the transgressions, either the organization or members of that organization have done. I haven't even talked about the real serious stuff that has happened with New England Patriots player. I got to imagine if this keeps going, even though maybe this doesn't rise to the level of some of these other things in some people's mind, whether finally the New England Patriots draw a line in the sand and say, no more. Can't deal with all this stuff anymore. I think it's heading in that direction. It's not now, but it seems like the reporting is just growing and growing every single day. But Mike Vrabel, as early as 6 minutes from now, is going to address the New England media. We'll let you know what it is about as soon as we see it. In the meantime, I'll take your thoughts on the three stories that are driving the show. 719-247-1313. And oh, by the way, I may have reminded you of what's tonight when I'm talking about Mike Vrabel. There is an NFL draft tonight. Not that it's on the top of a lot of people's minds, but the NFL draft is tonight and will begin at 6 o'clock. 719-247-1313. Back after this. Ray is on Vrabel watch right now. He is scheduled to speak to the media as early as right now. So I will read from the text line. Lot going on today. We thought we were coming into the day with an NFL draft and 2 game 3s, and now, I mean, we still have that, but we have Mike Vrabel. We have Aaron Gordon listed as out tonight with a calf injury. Your text. Couple from Dave. First, so what you're saying, Kaufman, is you're watching the Avs tonight. No, I will be. The plans are to watch the Nuggets. It's the more consequential of the 2 games. I actually think the Aaron Gordon injury means I need to make sure that I see every moment live of that game. And then I'll watch the Avalanche after. I think the Aaron Gordon story has just made my priority much more on the Denver Nuggets. And then I'll, of course, watch the Avs. I will do my due diligence. I always try to do that. You spend some of your time with me each day. The least I can do is watch both games, but got to watch one at a time. I'm not a good multitasker. I think the Nuggets is where my attention will be primarily tonight. Dave adds, Adelman needs to consult with the master lineup whisperer, Jared Bednar, if they tank tonight. I think it would be good. Jared Bednar always seems to find the right combination. We'll see what David Adelman decides to do. Ray threw out the idea of maybe starting Julian Strother and then moving Cam Johnson to the 4. Because that is a player that has not been used a lot, and you can keep Spencer Jones. I see the merit of it. I would expect Spencer Jones to start, but we'll see what David Adelman decides to do. And finally, Dave, in his series of 3 texts, says, Scott Wedgwood biopic, a movie I would watch. He's been a phenomenal story. And if he keeps this up throughout the postseason, and look, to use the Sean Payne thing, the Avs are going to play in bigger games, which means the stakes are going to be higher, but also the opponents are going to be better, with all due respect to LA. But yes, there is a storybook ending here at the end for Scott Wedgwood if he keeps up this level of goaltending and the Avs keep on winning. Of course, Jared Bednar, not dealing in hypotheticals, not giving you anything, but the thought is from people in LA that it will be Scott Wedgwood again tonight in game 3. Let's go to, these are all Vrabel texts, so I'll just get into all of them here. From Chris, I told you last week, I think he needs to resign. And I can't speak to the family dynamic that is at play here with Mike Vrabel. I mean, I think there could be an argument that, Mike Vrabel needs to take time. But I'm way out of my depth on that aspect of it. I would say a couple of things. One, this is an organization that has dealt with worse than this, as crazy as that is to say. So I think they feel like they could push through. And also the elephant in the room, Mike Vrabel went to a Super Bowl last year. May not be the right thing, but it's why I think he hasn't resigned yet. And Ray, what?
He is not resigning.
Not resigning.
No, he's based what we talked about. He said he's putting his family first. They need him this weekend. So he is going to step away from
so he's not going to be at the draft
I don't
at
believe.
all?
No, he's not going to be.
Okay.
No, he's not going to be at the draft.
See, get the full quote, and we'll do it here in a little bit. Get the whole. Is he talking about? Is he addressing anything that?
No.
No.
He said, "I respect his family. He will not be taking any more questions or comments."
And look, dude. Look, I'm gonna sound like I'm being on my high horse here, okay? But dude, the least respectful guy to your family is you. Like, I don't want to be the morality police here, but there are some times where you can draw the line and say, not me. Okay, Mike Vrabel, to continue to evade questions that need to be asked, and using his family as a shield. I don't like that at all. I think Mike Vrabel needs to stand up there and he needs to own what he did. And stop saying, out of respect for my family. You had the least amount of respect for your family of anybody in this situation. We feel bad for your family. Don't worry. But like I said, I would be shocked. I was going to be shocked if he resigned. And Mike Vrabel is not resigning. Instead, he will step away but just the weekend.
Yeah.
It didn't say anything about leave of absence or
he
anything.
Didn't say he didn't say like indefinitely or leave that. He said just for this weekend. He said his top two priorities are his family and the team in that order. So he says his family needs him this weekend, and he's going to step away, and he believes in the team to take over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no resignation. My earlier comment still stands though. If this thing gets bigger, if there's more, I mean, it's 16 days that this has been going on, and it's something new almost every single day. I don't think that Mike Vrabel is out of the woods yet on this. I don't think it is completely off the table that somebody else is coaching the New England Patriots week 1. I really don't think so. But if it was tonight, I would have been very surprised, and it is not. This from the 719. Tom Brady chose football over family. Vrabel will too. Bet on it. And again, I know I just chastised him for the family, but it's also about, standing up there and owning it. Because here's the thing, and I see another text from you, Tom, about you don't care what Mike Vrabel does personally. He is the face of a multi-billion-dollar organization. Okay? The guy that was caught at the Coldplay concert had to take more accountability than Mike Vrabel has. So I get for you, and that's fine. But you can't say, and I'm not saying that you are saying it, Tom. You're very much saying about you, and that's fine. But people have to understand that this is the biggest business in the New England area. It's one of the biggest businesses in the NFL, which is the biggest business in sports. Like, these optics matter. What he did matters. The shame he has brought to his family and the organization matters. Now, does it matter to the point that he loses his job? That remains to be seen. But I think it's pretty obvious to most people why Mike Vrabel would need to address it, would need to own up to it. You may not care. Plenty of people do. 719-24-7, 1313. Back to the Nuggets. This from the 719. What's with Julian Strother? Wouldn't that help out with the lack of scoring with Aaron Gordon being out? And how about getting Roddy in there with a smiley face emoji? David Roddy played very well against the Spurs, very well against the Thunder. The Julian I would not say David Roddy, here's your first, I think this would be his first playoff game ever. Yeah, maybe that's not. I get the why you would say David Roddy, even though you chased it with an emoji, which tells me that you're not as serious about David Roddy as you are Julian Strother. But I think the Julian Strother, and you're, as I mentioned, Ray, you're kind of on the Julian Strother idea. You're a big Julian Strother guy.
Okay,
best sports moment of your life, Game 6 against the Oklahoma City Thunder last year.
Best sports moment of my life?
Yes.
Over the 2023 championship.
Yes, was the Julian Strother game. Was it?
No.
Okay.
It was close.
I'm just trying to figure out how big of a stan you
I'm not a big okay, how about this?
Strother.
I'm not a stan of Julian Strother, but I'm just saying, what's the point of having these guys and not using them? And tonight,
I don't know. Why don't you ask Michael Malone? Oh, wait. Different coach.
But this year, when
more things change,
but with the injuries that have happened, Julian Strother has stepped into the starting lineup on a few occasions, and he's looked really good. And he's a player that sometimes he sits in the corner, but a lot of times he tries to drive to the basket. So he can get that going. So I just think it can create a spark.
I think he plays.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you. I think Julian Strother's
whether he starts is the question.
Right. And I still think Spencer Jones starts, but I see I see that as a possibility that Julian Strother, I think he's going to play tonight. I think the way David Adelman, and there's no substitute for Game 7. This is as Game 7 as any game that's not Game 7 gets. The history says 80% of the teams that win Game 3 of a 1-1 series go on to win the series. You now have one of your most important players completely out. David, I'm not going to say there's no bad ideas, but David Adelman's got to, expand his mind a little bit here because the Nuggets need this game. That's just fact. With or without Aaron Gordon, they need to win this game. So, yeah, some outside the box ideas may be in order here for the Denver Nuggets coming up at 7:30 on Extra Sports 1300. I think David Adelman should be speaking to the media, if not here before too long, and see if he sheds any light on what his lineup decisions are. And then I'm sure he will be asked, what is the severity of the Aaron Gordon injury? Because even if the Nuggets escape Game 3 tonight, there's Game 4 coming up. And it's on Saturday. It's not a long rest. The long wait was actually, which kind of to me makes this Aaron Gordon injury news worse because they had the extra day going from Game 2 to Game 3, and they still downgraded him and now are listing him out. Now he's only going to get 1 day. Well, it will be, I guess the way they can look at it is to say it would be 4 days before he has to play again. But the fact that they couldn't get that calf right with extra time is concerning.
My question is, I never saw any reports of Aaron Gordon is sitting out during practice, during these practice days.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see any reports saying that.
They had a faux practice, a fake practice, as David Adelman called it yesterday.
Right. So, I mean, it's light work.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if that calf's bothering you, we got to get as much rest as possible.
And you didn't see anything.
I never saw anything.
Well, then what could have... You just woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, or what?
Someone did point it out where at the end of the game, he looked. There was a couple times he looks like grimacing a little bit. So I think
you're
it's
saying
just
you did not see any reporting, anybody saying Aaron Gordon's not here.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't see any reporting that he's not participating. So I thought the calf was good. So like you said, yeah, maybe you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe he woke up and something wasn't right there.
Yeah.
Right. Or it did happen after that faux practice, but there was no report on it until they're like, hey, go home, get some rest. Came and woke up.
Sneak him out the back door.
So exactly.
It's kind of hard to do that where that practice facility is. It's right inside Ball Arena. A lot of traffic in and out of that place, but we'll see. I mean, you hope that this is this is precautionary and he's good to go for game 4. And even if tonight is lost, you still have a chance to even the series on Saturday. But as I say that, I can't help but think of the bigger picture here. There was already angst around the idea that the Nuggets would be in a long series with Minnesota. And now, Aaron Gordon might not be as big a participant in said long series, to say nothing of the long series that we expect afterwards with San Antonio and after that with Oklahoma City. Not good, but I am curious to see what David Adelman says. Texter says that he's reasonably serious about Roddy, because if nothing else, it's a fresh idea. I mean, is that you need rebounding, right? That's what David Adelman said. Rebounding. If we rebound the ball, we win game 2. David Roddy could get some rebounds. I would just say it's a little bit more, a little bit more far-fetched than maybe, putting Spencer Jones in the starting lineup or giving Julian Strawther more minutes. I would say that. But like I said, all ideas. David Roddy, if he can go out there and get you a rebound.
Start Val.
Do it.
Jokic. That's just
I didn't say we were. I remember specifically saying we are not at the no bad ideas. There are still bad ideas. That would be one of them.
Or have Val start at the 4. Big boy lineup.
Go big with the starters. Go small with the bench.
No bad
I don't
ideas.
know. I kind of think that tonight is a lost cause. So you know what? I'm down.
I remember in the beginning of the season.
GD, I'm in. Gosh
GD,
darn it, I'm in.
I remember in the beginning of the season. Oh, we're gonna see the Jokic and Val lineup. It's gonna be insane. We've seen.
I was chief among them.
Yeah,
I wanted to see
twice,
the double bigs.
and it's just never really caught on.
No, and in fact, David Adelman went the other way and favored small ball and banished Jonas Valanciunas to the end of the bench.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Val. Why not? Got to figure something out. I don't think they're winning this series if they don't win tonight. 719-24-7-1313. More Drive Time Sports after this. Adam Silver needs to do something. I mean, that's an evergreen thing. Adam Silver just needs to do something about the league. But last night, the OKC preferential treatment theory it went over the top. Did I say the name of the AI assistant on my phone? I don't think I did. Anyway, the OKC stuff has reached a new high or a new low. Here was the call last night from ESPN. Devin Booker picking up a technical for no darn good reason.
I heard Caruso tell him to.
Nope, not that yet. This.
So they're just saying technical foul on Booker. And that's why Gilgeous-Alexander shot the free throw. And now you'll have free throws on the other end from a personal foul. The official pointed at Jay Will, but they're just calling it on that. Booker was trying to save it, and because of how he saved the ball and it hit, Jay Williams are calling it.
Why is that a
Williams are calling it technical on that. He was just trying to save the ball.
So Devin Booker on the sideline in front of the OKC bench gets bumped by Jalen Williams, doesn't matter which one. And in the same motion, it was bang, bang in live action. He saves the ball. Okay, you slow it down. It looks like he was bumped and then he threw. It was bang, bang. He got bumped. He saved it. Something you've seen players do numerous times, but because it hit Jalen Williams again, it could not matter less which Jalen Williams it is. He gets called for a technical. And ESPN initially thought that it was double technicals. Because of course it would be that, right? If Devin Booker threw the ball at Jalen Williams and Jalen Williams went back at him, then double technicals. Nope, just Devin Booker for doing something you see in any given night in the NBA. And Devin Booker was, he always comes across chill, but this is as fired up as Devin Booker gets.
I heard Caruso tell him to call the tech, and, he ended up doing it. So that's one ref. In my 11 years, I haven't called a ref out by name, but James was terrible tonight, through and through. It's bad for the sport, bad for the integrity of the sport. People are going to start viewing this as a WWE, if they're not held responsible.
I don't know. I like to pride myself on being a man with answers. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what Adam Silver can come out and do, but he has to do something. Actually, I do know something. It doesn't specifically address what happened last night, but what Adam Silver can do is go to the referees, have a come to Jesus meeting and say, anybody that flops, you immediately blow the whistle. Just everybody across the league. Start calling guys for flopping. Because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the face of all of this. He wasn't even involved in that little thing last night. But he is the face of this. If Shai does not get away with what he gets away with, and Luka and Jokic and everybody else don't, I think some order will be restored. But something has to be done. If you are not in Oklahoma City, every fan, every media member, every coach, every player is pointing at OKC and saying, what is this that's going on? Devin Booker was caught mouthing the words, "This bleep is rigged." I don't know. Like, I know how we got here. We got here with the Oklahoma City Thunder deciding to go counter to the NBA culture. NBA started becoming more of a three-point shooting league. The Oklahoma City Thunder doubled down on their ability to get to the rim. In a league that everyone's chucking up threes and not playing defense, we're going to drive the lane as hard as anybody, and we're going to play the hardest defense of any team in the league. And when you do that, you earn calls. That's something that's as old as basketball itself. The more aggressive teams get the benefit of the doubt, get the leeway. But this has just compounded from there and has gone to a level where a guy is called for a technical for no good reason. And once again, it just so happens to be the Thunder that he's going up against. I don't think that the league feels that it's better for them if OKC keeps winning titles. But clearly, Oklahoma City has this vice grip on the collective minds of NBA officials that they are just so out of control with what they let OKC get away with and what they don't let anybody else. Like, that just tells you the disparity in officiating between OKC and everybody else. Devin Booker is called for a technical for saving the ball from going out of bounds. And meanwhile, Oklahoma City is clutching and grabbing and scratching and clawing. Adam Silver has to do something. I am so tired of tanking being the thing that is held up as this plague. Your defending champion everyone is starting to come around to the idea that you are rigging games on a nightly basis for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is far worse than anything Utah or Washington or any of these teams did. I don't know if it's a statement. I don't know if it's a press release. I don't know if referees got to get fired, but it is getting to a boiling point here. And the guy that many people would look to and say, could you, other than Adam Silver, could you please restore order to your referees? Could you get your referees under control and start having them call the game down the middle? The head of officiating for the NBA, I shoot you not, is a one-time Oklahoma City Thunder supporter. A tweet from 2012 where he's saying Thunder up. Now, I am one of the few people that are still hanging on to the idea that the referees are not rigging games, that a guy who tweeted something out in favor of the Thunder in 2012 is not letting his fandom get in the way. But you just cannot make this stuff up. The head of NBA officiating in the only public display of any fandom in his life, Oklahoma City. We're beyond the point. Something has to be done. And the only thing I can think of is a strict crackdown of flopping. And maybe there are going to be some egregiously terrible calls that somebody who is not flopping is called for flopping. But to appease the masses, I think the simplest and quickest way to tone down some of this stuff is that Shea doesn't get away with all of his garbage on the offensive end. I think that would pacify a lot of people. But it's just, at what point do you go, I can't ignore all of this stuff anymore? I can't give the benefit of the doubt. Every coach, every player, every fan base, every media member is pointing at OKC and saying they live in a different world than the rest of us. And why? There's nothing that inherently likable or marketable about them. Why in the world would they curry so much favor? I know where it started, but we have gotten so far beyond that point that it's just like it's not in the. It's almost in, if we're talking about rigging, it's in the NBA's best interest to rig the games against Oklahoma City. Just to get this kind of talk. The year, by the way, that one of your coaches was arrested for feeding information to gamblers. The integrity of the NBA has been called into question all season long. And now in your biggest stage, you have that absolute garbage call that had no reason to be called a technical, and fans are looking around and saying somebody's got to do something, and the head of NBA officiating is tweeting out #ThunderUp. Adam Silver's got to do something, because this is not a good look for the league, to say the very least. Ray, were you wanting to say something?
Oh, I can go on and on, but I don't think we have the time.
We have 1 minute.
Okay, I like Dylan Brooks' comments at the end of the game, his post game. Basically, he said the officials should get interviewed after the game. There should be a press. They need accountability, and I think that's when, if there's an egregious call or you let a call go, you have to get fined.
Mm-hmm. And look, here's the general disclaimer. I don't dabble in the trashing of the referees like many people do. I do think that their job is incredibly difficult, and I do think on the whole they do a very good job, except Scott Foster, who is reffing the Nuggets tonight. But the optics, if nothing else, have gotten completely out of hand, and something has to be done about it. You can't have that team hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy in back-to-back years and everybody say fake, rigged. Can't do it. Enjoy game 3s. Talk tomorrow.